What up? You know who it is. It's your boy Ricochet08, the boy Ross. And I was gonna do this video while riding the bike, but I fucked up my ankle playing paintball. Like, look at this. Somebody look at this. There is no reason that a paintball should have broken this case like that. Even if it was over, 300 feet per second, which I'm not sure, but even so, should not have broken this case. But I messed up my ankle rolling. I rolled it sliding into a corner bunker, and yada yada yada. I still tried to play on it, being a tough guy, whatnot. And now it hurts to just move it, even wiggle it. So would have did the video on a bike, but no, I don't want to risk dropping the bike because of my ankle. But anyway, it's a pros and cons video after owning it for 2 years, a little over 2 years. I want to say I got it like at the end of September or the beginning of November, October, and today's the 6th, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. And as most of you know, I would much prefer to have an inline motor in this bike, which would be fabulous. I don't think I would ever get rid of this bike, but does not have an inline motor, so there still leaves something to be desired. I'm missing a frame slider too. It's probably my fault. I probably forgot to tighten it down. Missing another screw. Missing another bolt over here, or screw right there, and then that wiggles. Missing a screw for the exhaust. I put the stock pipe back on, as you can see. Love the way it sounds in the higher RPMs with the stock pipe. But anyway, on to the pros and cons. Let's go with the cons first, because there are less cons. First con, like if you've ever ridden two up with a passenger, yeah, it's kind of hard to. It's a new feeling, something you get used to, and I would hope everybody, like practiced it or took the MSF course where they showed you, different things to do when riding with the passenger. If not, then I hope you were careful and had a safe trip and didn't kill your passenger or injure them. But riding with a passenger on a small bike like this, first gear, I don't care how high you get in RPMs, it's going to be sluggish and it's going to jerk. As soon as you shift, you can be 4,000 or 5,000 RPMs shift, and the weight of your rear passenger, even I've had somebody less than 100 pounds, less than 90 pounds on the back of this bike, and when I shift, she just like flew into me. And that may be her not knowing how to sit. I didn't take the MSF course, so I'm not sure of the proper way to have a passenger sit, but I just know they shouldn't have their weight on you at any point. Sitting upright's the key, and holding on to you where they're not affecting your ability to control the bike and maneuver. But anyway, 90 pounds. I've had somebody about how much she weigh, about maybe 140, 150, and one of them I would say probably about damn near 180. I'm 165, 5'10". Either way, stock pipe, aftermarket pipe, it's still sluggish, and I cannot stand riding with the passenger on this bike. It's too short of a gear, and I've got the 15-tooth front sprocket, which isn't going to make a drastic difference at all, but it still sucks riding with the passenger. Get out my face, nigga. On to the next one. The horns on these bikes. Oh man, I've got some cleaning to do. Oh, my ankle. Oh, that horn. Why would they do that to us? You know what I'm saying? That horn sounds absolutely childish, like something you would find on a Tonka truck or something. Matter of fact, I would dare say that horn on a Tonka truck that you get from Toys R Us sounds more vicious or more alarming than the horns that they put on this bike, as well as the other 250. And you know, I think the CBR 250R has a ridiculously childish horn as well, at least in my opinion. I know you can upgrade the horns, but damn it, entry-level bike or not, beginner bike, doesn't matter. They need to stop cheaping out with these horns. Just my opinion. It sounds loud in here, but I've blown my horn at people merging into my lane, and damn it, they just act like they couldn't hear me. My car horn, by all means, they'll hear it, and it's just a little Honda Civic, but they'll still hear it. But this horn, they will not hear it, and you know, even with the stock pipes or the aftermarket pipes, not overpowering the sound of the horn, and different horn would be great, a louder horn. Another thing about first gear on this bike, especially with decelerating, it's really jerky. Now that could be a problem for newer riders, beginner riders. It's just not smooth upon deceleration. Damn it, I would love to just show you an example, but I can't because of my ankle. But say you're slowing down a stop at a red light, going from second to first. As soon as you let go of the clutch, engage in first gear, you're more than likely just gonna like jerk forward violently, may I say, because it's not smooth at all. Granted, upshifting, fabulous. All the other gears downshifting, especially with rev matching, fabulous. But going into first gear on this bike, coming to a stop, it's pretty jerky. I've gotten used to it when I first got it. No, this is my 5th bike. None of the other bikes, I don't even think the 250 was like this. It's just really jerky. Just something that I noticed. I don't know if anybody else has noticed it. And I rev match every gear downshifting. But that's just me. Slight vibrations at high speeds, and by high speeds I mean over 100 miles an hour. Not saying that I did over 100 miles an hour, but at over 100 miles an hour, things start to vibrate a little bit. Not much, but you can definitely feel the instability of the suspension, handlebar, and whatnot. It just doesn't feel like you could coast at over 100 miles an hour comfortably, just from my experiences. Again, not saying that I did it. No incriminating evidence here. That's just me, though. And the last con, in my opinion, is this ridiculous seat. Now, there are worse seats. I have sitting upon harder seats than this. But ever since I've had that ZZR 600, every seat has felt like crap. Because the seat on that bike was fabulous. This seat, now I've ridden down from North County, St. Louis, all the way down to Farmington, a good 60 plus miles, 70 plus miles one way, 140 miles plus round trip. And towards the end of the day, my butt started hurting. Now I got chicks tell me all the time, you got a nice ass. Why, thank you. But no pun intended with but the seat's just not that comfortable for me. And I grip the tank with my knees, use my core to keep myself upright. But a different seat would be very much appreciated for longer rides. Short rides, no big deal. And like I said, I very rarely do long rides like that. Ride of the century, I was fine. But a softer seat would be nice. Now let's get to the pros, because there are plenty of pros. And before I go into the pros, just a neutrality between pro and cons. Stuff like the suspension, rear passenger seat, and like adjustability of suspension. I never adjusted the suspension or height of any of the bikes that I've owned, so I can't really call it a pro or a con on this bike. So I'll just put it in the neutral factor, or neutral category, because I've never touched it. Alright, so the pros, first big one to me is the insurance. I pay about I want to say $189 a year for liability. Not full coverage, just liability. That's all you need here in Missouri is liability to be on the streets legally. If by any means I should cause an accident, it's my fault, so I would be paying for it anyway. So I don't see a need for full coverage, especially now that I have my own garage. Nobody's going to come up and steal it, and if they break into the house and steal it and I don't hear them, that's just my fault. But $189 a year for a freaking motorcycle, can't beat that. Full coverage, when I first looked into it, it was damn near $2,000 a year, and I think that was on my CBR 600RR, as a matter of fact. No, I'm not paying that much, damn it. Even if I didn't have a house and a mortgage to pay, I would not be paying $2,000 some dollars a year to insure something. That's just, it'd probably be worth it if you're in an area where theft or crime is high, and you want to leave it outside and not have to worry about losing an investment like that. By all means, $2,000 some a year, more than worth it. To me, no, not doing it. And of course, with small bikes, you've got the fantastic fuel economy. I think the highest I've gotten on this is 58 miles a gallon, and that's when I'm staying in low RPMs, not redlining, not doing wheelies in parking lots where it's illegal, no high speeds or anything, just straight cruising, as a normal rider would do. Well, I can't even say that, but normal riding would cause, great fuel economy. But if you're hammering it, I think the lowest I've gotten was about, I'm going to say 40 even, and that's red lines, wheelies, legal activities in parking lots, which include speeding and whatnot. And even then, that's still great. My Civics get nowhere near that. The top end power, this may be subjective. I have yet to, really dig into it. But ever since I put the stock pipe back on there, top end power past, say, 8,000 RPMs is great. Fantastic. I could stay in that engine range all day. That top end power is great with the stock exhaust. With the aftermarket, it's felt sluggish ever since I put the stock pipe back on. And I'm going to put the aftermarket pipe back on just to test it, just to make sure that I'm not tripping. The top end power is fantastic. And for those that haven't ridden these small bikes, started off with a 600, upgraded to 1,000. No, I can't see myself riding a 250, 300. Well, you know what? That's your loss. But I'm telling you, this shit's fun. And having ridden ZX6R, CBR, ZX10R, Busas, Gixxers, R1s, R6, all bigger bikes, fucking big ass Harleys. This bike is a lot of fucking fun. Pardon my English, because that's not French. I hate when people say pardon my French. You're speaking English, sir and or madam. Anyway, great top end power. I think anybody that get on this bike and just give it a chance would find that this bike is pretty damn fun. The other main thing that made me want to go back to this bike from the CBR 600RR is the fuel injection. No choke. No carburetors to deal with. Less maintenance. Easier maintenance, or easier to maintain this bike. I love fuel injection. After I got this bike, I found another 250 that I got running for about 20 minutes, and I never got it running to stay running, but I learned how to work on the carburetors on that bike, and damn, it's not that bad working on carburetors. I just don't like working on carburetors. If I can avoid them, I will, and that's what I did when I went with this fuel injected bike. It's a very light bike, very flickable, easy to maneuver, especially at low speeds. High speeds too, you can maneuver it very easily, but at low speeds especially, and city areas where if it's legal to lane split, this would be a fantastic bike for your commute. You'll get there a lot faster. You don't have to worry about traffic. And damn it, I mean, I've seen people flick 600s around like it's nothing, but these bikes, super great at maneuvering through traffic. The clutch, through all the gears, upshifting wise, or getting out of first gear alone, is smooth. The slipper clutch does its job. It's great. And for new riders, I think they'll appreciate that when they go to a different bike and be like, oh man, I kind of missed that slipper clutch on the 300. You can do long rides on it. Like I said, I did about a 140 round trip, but with that seat, I wouldn't recommend it. Highway speeds, as far as passing power, over 75, 70 miles an hour, power's gone. You got to downshift once or twice to get a decent pull, but other than that, you'll be okay on long trips. But if you can, I would avoid it. That's just me, though, my personal preference. Plenty of upgrades. Like, come on. You cannot tell me that shit's not sexy. Plastic dip, you can plastic dip any vehicle, really. The headlights, I hate that they used silicone instead of the rubber epoxy to seal the headlights, because I had to fucking pry it apart. No matter how hot I got the damn headlight case, and I had to pry it apart to get inside the headlights to put those projectors and angel eyes in there. Rear fender eliminators, tires, exhaust, rear sets. I don't think I've seen any different tanks, but I'm sure you can fabricate something. Levers, forks, suspension, mirrors, gauges, frame sliders. So much you can do with almost any other motorcycle, but parts are going to be cheap for this bike, and you can have a blast with it. And the one last thing in particular that I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some backlash on is that you will not outgrow this bike. And when I say outgrow, I don't mean, oh, I'm bored, I want something faster, I want to go bigger. No, anybody can go to a bigger bike. Damn it. If you go to a track and you cannot beat a 250 with your 600 around those turns, you have not outgrown this bike. You do not need a bigger bike. If you want to go faster, you want something more powerful, by all means, a bigger bike is what you need. But as far as outgrowing this bike, you will not outgrow this bike. At any point of ownership in this bike, you will not outgrow this bike. And if you do outgrow it, I would love to see a video to prove it. You being on a track with your 600, flying past an experienced 250 rider with no problem. I would love to see that video. 250s walk over 600s through those turns, and it's amazing. It's all about the rider. So anyway, I'm gonna get back inside because it's about time to start working, and I need to get off this ankle. After 2 years of ownership, I do still enjoy riding this bike every single time that I get on it. However, I think I may be buying another bike. I would love to keep this bike and buy another bike. However, personal property tax of owning 3 vehicles is gonna suck. I would get rid of the car if I could, but I can't. No. Common sense wise, you gotta have a car. Can't ride year round here in St. Louis. But if I have to, I will get rid of this one to get the other bike. And if you're following me on Instagram or on Facebook, you probably know which ones that I'm looking at. And if not, well, stay tuned because you'll see it eventually. But if I can, I'm going to do some calculations, see if I can keep this bike and afford another bike for these taxes year round. But if I can't, then this one's got to go because I love naked bikes. That's a hint. Suzuki's got a new 750 coming out that's naked, and it looks great. Can't wait to see some reviews on it, but we'll see. Anyway, pros and cons of the Ninja 300 after owning it for 2 years. If you're in the market for a bike and you want something new or a great bike to start off with, if you can find one used, fabulous. But if not, they're cheap, brand new. I just don't recommend you getting a brand new bike if you're a new rider, because if you drop it, well, you just ruined a pretty nifty investment, hefty investment, I should say. Let's get something that's already been dropped if you can, or other year 250s. Get your bearings together on those bikes before you go and buy a brand new bike. Anyway, appreciate y'all watching. Y'all take it easy. Hit me up with any questions. Follow me on Instagram. Like me on Facebook, because I'm always on Facebook. Stuck at home, working on the computer all day. Facebook is always up on my second monitor. But anyway, y'all take it easy. Deuces.